How are you doing today? This is Dr. Ferrante Frazier with another episode of Natural is F. We're going to be talking all things health today. I really do appreciate all my listeners and viewers that come and view and listen to the technique and uh, education that we have on holistic health and healing. Remember, you never hear anything about medicine, herbs, or remedies with me. We're only going to talk about the natural way to health. That's why our show is called Natural as Health. Um, we want to thank ATR Media for allowing us, ATR Black Media for allowing us to be on this platform to teach a bunch of listeners. And I noticed that we've been doing pretty good here. So keep sharing and putting the word out there that there's a platform of education that is teaching sound health if we are willing to apply it into our life. It's all about the application, too. Hearing it through us and then applying it to your life will make the necessary changes that you need to make in your life to become healthy. We got a good, talk today and some teachings that we're going to talk about today to really help you understand some of the misconceptions in the health community and the health teachings that we're getting from mainstream experts and health gurus. That's what they call themselves, but we're going to clear up some misconceptions and actually make you aware of some things in your world, in your day-to-day habits, in your eating, and things that you're not aware of, and make you aware of those things where you can be healthier. We want to start off talking about there are no cures. Right now, the health community is teaching us that they are, they're pretty much in the curing business. Everything about them is to cure our aches, pains, our detoxification symptoms, whatever is going on with our body. They seek to cure it with drugs or some type of remedy or some type of treatment. Our topic today is there is no cures. There's no such thing as cures. As a matter of fact, what they're trying to cure is your cure. For example, your cough, your cold, what comes with a cold, your sneeze that come with a cold, your fever that comes with a cold. All those are symptoms, and they're grouped together. These group of symptoms is the body going through a cleansing. Now, back in the days, our older people, they knew better than to interfere with this process. If we look back to our forefathers, in the ancients, our ancestors, and go back and read their documentation there, not the charlatans now. Don't go reading their information. They have you around here, digging up roots and all type of other stuff, trying to heal yourself. But here, when we listen to the more sound people from the past, they would allow that process to run a course. When your body was showing some type of sign or symptom of dis-ease, they knew it was a form of elimination where the body was um, projecting waste from it via those routes. And if it was projecting it out of the mouth, you were probably coughing it or vomiting it out. If it was coming out of the nose, you're probably sneezing or or having boogers and all type of stuff form out of your nose. Could have been forming out through your eyes, draining from your ears. It could be erupting from your skin. So these different elimination routes were body instituted activity. It was the body producing these routes in which to free itself of some type of waste product, some type of accumulated toxin, poisons that gain entrance. The body will vehemently free itself of it. Imagine a person who drinks a bunch of alcohol and is about to drink itself into a stupor, a coma. His body is at all time working to defend himself from that alcohol. He starts drinking, and his body start forming routes in which to free itself of that alcohol poisoning. He might start having excessive urination. He might have excessive sweating going on. Catch a little fever. His body warming up to do some work. You got to do some work. You got to defend itself from you just pouring this poison down your throat. You might have some diarrhea action. You might even regurgitate the poison back up. This is at all times. This is activity of the body. It's not due to no germ, no virus, no bacteria, anything like that. It's due to poisoning. When you poison yourself, the body cannot deal with poison, and it's only but so much poison the body can tolerate. But when the poison in the body get to a level that it no longer can tolerate the poison, which is a threshold, the body have to institute a forced elimination, like a detox, which eventually we call a symptom of disease, a symptom of purging. It have to let this toxin out somewhere, throw it out of a window, throw it out of a wall, throw it out the back door, throw it out the front door, throw it out of somewhere, but it got to get up out of this body. Usually the body takes some regular routes, and those routes tend to become more heightened in activity, like urination. You usually get rid of toxins by urinating. But when you have added toxins, the body will excessively urinate. So this is activity of the body, but it's heightened efforts to free itself of waste. But now, when those organs that are normally designed to get rid of toxins become fatigued because you just don't know when to put the bottle down, and you're excessively overworking your kidneys to the point where they become fatigued, or the poison in your body becomes so high that even the kidneys can't keep up with getting rid of these toxins before you kill yourself, the body will form other routes. Instead of just coming out through your kidneys, it will come out through your nose. It will come out through your skin. It will start just pouring out of your body through every faucet it possibly can to preserve the integrity of the organism. So this is activity of the body. Now, when we start having these symptoms of detoxification, these symptoms of disease, is it wise for us to seek cures? If you were poisoning yourself with alcohols, and you start stumbling, you start vomiting, you start coughing and spitting up and diarrhea, is it good to stop those symptoms of purging with medication, with remedies, with treatments, with cracking of the back, with sticking of the needles, with any of these so-called treatments and remedies? Is it even wise to stop the purge? That in itself should let us know that there are no cures. The cure to your alcohol poisoning is the very thing that you're trying to start with medication, that you're trying to start with herbs and remedies, with all these different types of treatments. So the very thing that you're trying to stop is your cure, and you're stopping the cure when you take these so-called medicines and remedies. What the thing is to seek cause, remove cause, and the symptoms and diseases disappear. A drunk man can't stumble and diarrhea and all type, show signs of alcohol poisoning if he's not drinking no alcohol. But we know that Tylenol is not the cause of his headache. It's because he poisoned himself by drinking all night long. His excessive urination on himself, his diarrhea, his vomiting all over the place, is not the result of no type of germ, like I said, or bacteria, anything. And his cure is not in treatments. The cure here is sobriety. For him to not have these issues ever again, he must be found with sobriety. He needs to put down alcohol and drink no more and be clean, and don't go back into that foolishness unless it show right back up. He start back drinking again, and he'll start feeling the damage to his body all over again. And this is true for all our suffering. It's due to us poisoning ourselves. This is the toxemia theory that we talk about all the time, because I was reading one of the books by the great doctor. I'm pretty sure I got it real close to me. I kind of keep that book close to me. Toxemia Explained. All right. You see that? Toxemia Explained by Dr. Tilden. I usually always keep that because I have to explain the toxemia theory to a lot of people, because we only are trained in the medical mindset, which is the germ theory. We believe that germs and bacteria is the cause of disease, and we don't realize that toxins that build up in our blood and in our tissues is what's producing our diseases. Even these toxins, they tend to putrefy and decompose, producing these parasites that we think are actually the cause of our suffering. We think that the parasite is what's gaining interest in our body and causing us to become sick and toxic. But it's really the toxins that we accumulate in our body attract the parasites or even grow the parasites. We become breeding grounds for parasites when we hoard toxins in our body from our lifestyles and our conditions, our environmental conditions. So there are no cures. When you go to the doctor, there's only suppression and palliation. They cure nothing. They put you on a regimen of pills and potions and treatments to palliate your symptoms. It does not address the poisoning that's in your body. It only addresses the symptoms or the end effect of the poison. As the poison is coming out of you, it's stopping that because you don't like how it feels. It don't feel good coming up out of you. It felt good going in you when you was drinking it and you around here partying, and yeah, the alcohol got you hyped. But when it's coming out of you and the end effects of it, it's torture. It's coming out burning and it's hurting and it got you delirious and it got you feeling just terrible. But you don't like that feeling. So the best thing for us to do in the medical mindset is to suppress that. Put it away for a time. I don't need to feel this right now. I don't want that poison to come out because it hurt. I like it going in because it make me feel like I'm a big guy. But when it's coming out, it hurts too much that I don't want to deal with that right now. So I take something to suppress it. So this poison no longer is coming out of me because I stopped it with my medication and my herbs and my remedies. I interfered with the process of the body. I stopped the cure. And when I stopped the cure, now these toxins are remaining in my body and producing chronic issues. Because see, if the body is trying to get rid of it before it hurts or damage organs and tissues and break down the structure of the body. But when we don't allow it to go out, then that's exactly what it's doing. It's sitting in us and it's breaking us down real rapidly. If we just allow the body to do its job and never interfere with the actions of the body, we will have a better longevity of life, even if we're doing bad. But when we start suppressing and palliating and making the nerves dumb, we numbing them with pain relievers and stuff like that. We have to dumb our nerves down where it can't feel pain, even though we're hammering our hand and in a door and stepping on nails, we can't feel it. We can be eating the most toxic foods that's burning a hole in our stomach. But long as we got the purple pill, boy, you won't feel a thing. And you can keep on eating as many hamburgers as you want. You can keep on eating as many hot dogs you want. You can put all the hot sauce on all the food you need. You can use all the spices and seasonings you want. Just make sure you take the purple pill first. This is the mindset of the medical society. And this is what holds the mentality of the collective whole. And that's why the collective body of people are suffering at an all-time high, is because the awareness of what health is lacking in the people. And we're glad that we're here bringing it as natural as as we can to your understanding about how to restore yourself back to health without the suffering, without the use of medications and all the other so-called, you know, things that they're telling us to do. A change in mode of living is what's going to bring about the health that we desire. We're not going to find it in remedies. We're not going to find it in pills and potions or anything like that. It's a mode of living that we have to do to bring about our health. You know, that drunk man, he cannot bring health to his body until he changed his lifestyle. He got to stay out of the bar. He got to stay from down there, drinking every Friday night and Saturday night and Sunday night and Monday night and Tuesday night and Thursday night. And did I skip Wednesday? Yeah. And then back on Friday again. You know, he got to change his mode of living. Instead of drinking alcohol to hydrate his body, he got to drink water to hydrate his body. The alcohol ain't gonna hydrate your body anyhow. But the mode of living have to change, not just in what we're drinking, not in just what we're eating, also our sleep habits. You know, a lot of us don't pay attention to that. Sleep is very important to creating health in us. Exercise, our exercise habit is what helps create muscle tone and help support the structure of our body and store energy in our muscles and glycogen and stuff like that to help preserve our body and keep our body running in time of need. We can always call forth some energy from it. That's how you see people who not have no good digestion. They start breaking or wasting away because their body go into ketosis and start breaking down muscle fibers and stuff to preserve itself, because it no longer can nurture itself through the regular digestive system and the digestive tract. So it goes in ketosis. You see this in diabetics and a whole bunch of other so-called health issues that are not allowing proper nutrition from digestion. All right. So also we see emotional balance. All these things interfere with health. Um, and it's a lifestyle that need to be changed. If you're always criticizing, in uproar, sad, worrying, stressed out, in any of the negative senses, you want to change those things, because those things are draining your body of energy and keeping you toxic, because a low energy body can't free itself of toxins. Fatigue, when your organs are fatigued, they can't do no housework, they can't do no cleaning. So your body clean keeps itself clean when the energies in the body is really, really high. So you want to keep the energy in the body high. So that means staying away from anything that's robbing you of energy. So the key word here is conservation. You want to conserve your vital energy. We in natural hygiene, we call it just our nervous energy. It's nerve energy. But it's vitality. Some people call it functioning power. Some people call it life force. Whatever term you wish to use. But this nervous energy is what we call it. And when you can conserve that nervous energy can be used for, repair, regeneration, enhancements in your body, taking you to the optimum health. Because it's the law of development. It will repair itself, and repair itself even better when new materials come along. The body is amazing with that. If something even more precious come along to repair your body with, then your body will discard whatever is there now, the cells and tissues that's there now, for this enhancement, these precious cells, and a better furniture. You would do the same thing if you had a car come along and you was able to switch that out, your old car, for a new car. You'll get it. And then even if one car that come even more precious than that, you'll get rid of that car for the even more precious car. So that's just how the body thinks as well. It's always going to keep enhancing itself. Now it'll hold on to what it got if it ain't getting nothing good. And that's what's usually happening right now. In society now, our body doesn't have anything to repair itself. So it's just holding on to the same cells and tissues that it had years and years ago. And that's why it's degenerating. It has no integrity to it no more. It can't protect you anymore. It's breaking down prematurely. because it's never being replaced. It's never being fixed because you're never bringing anything into your body to fix it. You're not breathing fresh air. You're not eating fresh fruits and vegetables. You're not drinking clean water. You're not staying away from toxic people. You're not, getting regular sunlight. You're not keeping cleanliness around you. You're not maintaining normal temperatures, nurturing relationships, and keeping the will to live. Keeping emotional balance in your life. These things rob you of energy. And when you conserve all those areas and be mindful in those areas, then and start applying those things into your life, you'll notice that your energy levels start rising. And as your energy levels start rising, then now you have energy to repair. You have energy to heal. And when you start eating more fruits and vegetables, now you got supplies that can replenish the body, replenish the reserves that you've been leaching out of your body during the state of disease. Staying away, we're going to move on because I had a couple of topics that we were going to delve into today, and I'm gonna be a little all over the place, but I want you to make sure that you're taking notes and make sure you share. Our show come on every Tuesday at 6 o'clock. I know if you go to ATR Media, you can listen to a lot of their shows. It's a lot of stuff up here that's relevant that we need to hear in our communities and society. I want you to make sure that you lock me in as well every Tuesday at 6 o'clock, where you can be alerted and make sure you share and telling other people about it. What we can share health around the world. Imagine a world when all of us are being healthy. No more suffering, no more early premature death from out of us just being ignorant to what health truly is. When we can remove the causes of suffering, we don't have to cry over a little child having cancer anymore, because that will not be a thing. It will be something like everybody be like, whoa, like how it used to be when we heard the first child suffering with cancer. Now you know it's in the news everywhere. It's common. It's almost in every household now. That somebody, I know it's in every neighborhood. So it's not no taboo thing anymore to hear about a child suffering from this or that. It's no longer children getting childhood diseases. They don't get that stuff no more. Yeah, they solved the smallpox. They solved the chicken pox. No one's getting the chicken pox no more. No one catching colds and flus no more. But they dying of cancer and all these chronic issues. Now why? Is it possibly that because they then injected all this poison in their body, the so-called vaccinate themselves or immunize themselves or serum poison themselves out of taking these so-called remedies, by taking these remedies, getting them away from these childhood diseases, and now suffering from more chronic issues. These kids are dying from things that old people died from. They're having diseases that they erecting hospitals to take care of these kids now for their problem. And here it is. If you look on the radio, they're advocating, hey, we're doctors. We're doctors. They got the doctors up there, a couple of doctors up there. We're doctors, and we okay with this serum poisoning, and we don't mind that you serum poison your children, because that's all that stuff is that they're saying. They don't use that terminology, because if they told you that they're injecting serum poison in your body, you think you're going to go up there and open your arms up and say, yeah, dose me up with this serum poison. So they come up with different names. They play with these different names to keep you from knowing what it is. Of course, they're going to say, hey, we about to inject poison into you. Smile. I'm going to give you a lollipop at the end of this, or I'm going to give you a sticker and say, I've been serum poisoned. That's what they do. But I also want you to look at staying away from diet foods. This is a thing that's been coming up on the radar lately as well. Most people are trying to get away from, sugar out of their diet, because you're hearing about, oh, sugar is a terrible thing. So they go on these low sugar diets, and these sugar diets, well, where they're eating artificial sweeteners and stuff like that. They start eating foods that have huge amounts of artificial sweeteners, such as aspartame is one of them, and some of these other ones. But these artificial sweeteners are neurotoxins. I don't know if you're familiar with that term before, or ever heard that term before. But a neurotoxin, you got to first know what a neuron is. A neuron is in your brain. There are little pieces in your brain that connect with one another that helps with you, where they fire to get activity in your brain where you can remember and do activities and stuff. But these neurotoxins that we put in our body go straight to the neuron and poison them, irritate them to death. Now, the next topic that we're going to talk about is more of a a stimulant that irritates. It's a excitotoxin, in other words. It's a excitotoxin. This is a neurotoxin. It actually just go and destroy the neurons. It just goes straight to the neurons and damage them and destroy them and kill them, in other words. So if you notice, if you even ever study, I mean, I've studied this and I watched it firsthand. People who were on artificial sweeteners started losing their memory, started having pre-aging of their brain, started suffering from symptoms of dementia and Alzheimer's disease or paralysis agitating. So I've seen that activity a lot. And like I said, even with my own eyes, I watch people who do it. I study people who were suffering from these things that I'm telling you about, these brain damages. And they were from a result of using artificial sweeteners. And that was a new thing coming about anyhow. We're just seeing the effects of it, and these are new diseases that's coming into the world with the new advent of these poisons. As new poisons are invented into our world and leached out into our world, we start seeing the results of that poison in the next generation. And then the generation after that, we see the poisoning going on. We see it in the actual individual, and we see it in the DNA structure of the next generation. They have to suffer from the sins of the generation before. They're already weakened. All right. So these neurotoxins, they result in hardening of the brain, the neurons in the brain, and pre-aging. We actually end up with, and this is a hard word to use, but we end up with people that become imbeciles. We become, have no access to our brain, because our brain is what makes everything function. It's the CEO of the body. And if the brain cannot work properly, then nothing else in the body can work properly. Functions have to be shut down, because you got your body, your brain has different areas that deal with certain stuff. The prefrontal cortex deal with how you judge things. You have your parietal lobe dealing with your seeing and hearing. So you have these different areas throughout your brain that deals with certain functions. And when they're damaged or destroyed in anywhere, then we see behavior that doesn't seem intelligent. It'd be like ignorant behavior. But it's because that individual don't have access to the part of the brain that has been destroyed. So their behavior is going to be out of it. Dr. Amen over in California, who head up a clinic, a bunch of clinics all over America that deals with looking at the brain through SPECT imagery. And what it does is see how blood flows through the brain when there's activity going on. And it noticed that a brain that has been damaged don't get good blood flow. And if there's no blood flowing to that brain, or blood can't get to that part of the brain, then there's not going to be no activity. So when you see people are not acting right, it's probably because they ain't got no blood flowing to that part of the brain. It was what got him into the SPECT study was one of his godsons was acting out of order. He had started drawing pictures of like, dark pictures, killing and different things of that nature. He started, acting unnaturally, staying in the room, cussing, acting out in school, misbehaving. And that was not like him. He was a great child prior to that. And just out of the blue, this new behavior came. And they could not figure out what it was until they got an image of his brain and realized that he had a tumor in his left temporal lobe. His temporal lobe was not even there. That tumor had already replaced his whole temporal lobe. So he did not have activity to the left brain, the temporal lobe. And the temporal lobe helping him with how he perceived situations, threatening or non-threatening. And here it is, his left brain was damaged. Now he perceived, even himself as a threat, and been acting all out and other people as a threat. But it's because of the tumor. It wasn't because he was just wanted to misbehave. He just didn't have access to his brain. He was out of his mind because his mind was not there. It was no brain there. And if we're eating foods that's destroying neurons in our brain, then we too will be just like that, but in all kind of areas in our body. If it's dealing with the let's say the deep limbic system, we might not be where we feel love and all type of feelings, and how we bond with people, our bonding center in our brain. If we lack blood flowing in that area, then we're not going to bond well with people. We can't connect with nobody. We're going to be vile. And if we have too much blood flowing there because some damage going on, that it got it inflamed and too much blood going there, then we're going to overbond. We're going to be smothering people and different stuff. So this is some good research that you might want to tune into. But the whole objective that Dr. Amen teaches is that a healthy brain is a healthy life. So you have to take care of your brain. Say your brain is just like butter. It's like a consistency of custard. So you have to protect this in this shell, this skull with bony ridges in it. And as you ride the roller coaster, and they used to call it the mind bender and Six Flags. And that's truly what it is. Excuse me. But even you can get the whiplash, you can get all these different jolts, getting hit in the head. Look how Muhammad Ali was from being hit in the head so many times, and a bunch of these other boxers. Look at some of these soccer players who've been hitting the ball with their head. Look at some of these football players who done had concussions. Matter of fact, I know one of our brothers up here is working on some activity to help with concussions, to protect people's brain and stuff. So that brain must be protected, if you want to be able to be here and available to be present, what I'm saying, and not be out of your mind. And so you got to be careful what you're putting in your body. And that's why we go back to the topic, which is saying that these diet foods and different stimulants that we're putting in our body is causing us brain damage, just as if we were hitting ourselves across the head. And a lot of the drugs that we're putting in our body is blowing our head apart too. It's doping us up, but at the same time, it's destroying our head. Dr. Amen showed graphs and pictures of people who were on cocaine for a long time, and their brain looked like Swiss cheese, heroin and different stuff like that, and alcohol. Their brains look like Swiss cheese, meaning that the brain has been so damaged from the effects of these poisonous drugs that they no longer get blood flow there. They're hardening, and so no blood is flowing in all those areas, and that's why we see these people are not normal anymore. They walk, their gait is off. They look like robots and stuff after continual use, because their brain is not active like how it used to be, because there's no blood. No blood has the capability of flowing in that area to bring them you say the naturalness, as if somebody who has fully activity or use of their brain. So protect your brain by all means necessary, and don't be hitting your kids in the head. Don't be hitting yourself in the head. Protect yourself. You know, protect that brain by all means necessary. Let's go to our next topic, because look like we're going through this time rather fast here. And like I say again here, I want to thank everyone who follow our show. I'm not a medical doctor, so if you're looking for medical help, this is the wrong show, because nothing in my teachings will teach you about medication. I don't portray myself to be no medical doctor. I wouldn't even do no mess like that. I wouldn't want to hurt people by dosing them and drugging them. I'd rather teach them. At the end of the day, hygienic practitioners are teachers. Doctor don't mean that you have to be medicating somebody or cutting on somebody. Doctor just mean that you're at the top of your field in that teaching. So in hygiene, I've studied it so much till I'm able now to teach others of what I've learned. And that's what I'm doing here, is to teach you the fundamental principles of natural hygiene, unadulterated teachings that can create health within you if you provide it or activate it in your life through applying it. Apply it, application. I keep saying that. Apply it in your life. But MSG is another thing we want to talk about, because this is something else that's coming up on the radar. MSG, a lot of us, you got some people that pour it straight into their food. They use it like salt into their ingredients. You can buy it in the market as straight up MSG. And this is what we were talking about a few minutes ago about excitotoxin. A cytotoxin is a toxin that actually stimulate, make sure I say it right, stimulate cells to death. All right. So imagine, let me show you how the cell feels. Imagine if you was real ticklish. I mean extremely ticklish. I got my daddy. If I go to act like I'm about to tickle my daddy, and he's gonna act like the Pillsbury Dough guy and say, "Oh man, stop!" You know what I mean? It's like he just can't take it. He can't even take the act of like you about to tickle him. Now imagine the cell. The cell is just like that with MSG. MSG is like me. I'm coming to my daddy, and my daddy is the cell. And if I just come up to it like that, it's tickled almost to death by just me just pointing at it. But MSG goes there and just bathe itself in that cell. And it's just sitting there just scratching and digging and causing the tickling to just go. And it's like you can't even get away. It's like the MSG got the cell locked down and just tickling it, and it can't stand it until it just become uncomfortable so much that the cell just is tickled to death. All right, you just tickled to death. So that's what the excitotoxins do. And this MSG, you can find it in almost anything. Now, you won't find it because it won't say MSG on the label. If you notice, nothing pretty much say MSG on the label anymore, because they know you don't want to buy it, because they've been making such a stink about it in the news. And we actually know by the word MSG, monosodium glutamate. That's what MSG stands for, monosodium glutamate. And that's a big word. It has nothing to do with fruits and vegetables. But what is that stuff? But here it is. It's put in our food, but it can go by a different name. It got so many names. MSG got so many names because it done been modified so much by, like, if I put, let's say I got a bag of MSG and I cut it with a tablespoon of salt. I can have a whole bag, a whole pound of MSG, and I can cut that pound with 1 spoon of salt, which is another protoplasmic poison. It kills on the cellular level as well. So you got 2 poisons being um, um, grouped together. You know what I'm saying? The salt and the MSG. But I don't have to call it salt, because it's not salt, because it got MSG in it. And I don't have to call it MSG because it got salt in it. I can give it a whole new name. I can call it artificial sweetener. You know what I'm saying? I can call it natural flavoring. I can call it by any name, caseinate. You're caseinate. I can call it anything I want. I just won't call it MSG because you know what MSG is. You're not going to buy anything with MSG in it. You don't want to buy anything with salt in it. So I'll dilute it with a little something else and give it a whole new name. And I can do this legally. Them folks got some ways of doing stuff to manipulate us. But we have to wake up to it. Once we wake up to it, then we won't have to be fooled by that anymore. And we can, what good is reading labels if you don't know what the label is saying? It's like trying to read a calculus book and you here don't even know how to do algebra yet. You look at the calculus book like, what is this? X, Y squared, W's, Y, such and such. What is that? Man, what is this? You don't even know how to do 1 + 1. And here it is, you trying to do algebra. Multiplication and all type of stuff. So until you learn the tricks and trades of this food industry, it's useless of even reading. It's a mockery to put those labels on the back of those things when they're not properly putting what's in those foods. The preservatives and different things that they're putting in there, these enhancers, these flavor enhancers that they're doing to keep us addicted to the food and want us to keep eating this stuff. And turning food into edible stuff that ain't really food, turning unnatural things into food. And a lot of this, we're going to get into that in the next topic. But, this excitotoxin or this MSG can be poured on anything and we'll eat it up because it'll give flavor to anything. It's a flavor enhancer. We can put it in dirt and the dirt will taste good. We can put it on cardboard and the cardboard, we start biting and licking on it, we'll enjoy it. It'd be a tasty cardboard. We can, no matter what we put it on, it gives flavor to it. It enhances it. So it tastes good, So we have to be careful what we eat. This show tastes good. That don't mean it's good. And we don't know what's in there. But I'm pretty sure there's some MSG in there. And then if we go to our next topic, we see that a lot of these foods are, what the food industry is, oh man, they're not really worried about our health, as long as they can sell you something. If you look at how they do it with a bag of potato chips, they take probably a half of potato and chop it up real thinly and fry it in some grease. Now that potato don't cost nothing. That half a potato probably don't cost no more than about 10 cents. And here it is, they thin it out and make a whole bag of a family-sized pack of chips, and sell it to you for $5. So they sell you a 5 or 10 cent piece of potato, and they sell it to you for $5. Matter of fact, they had the nerve to say here what this was going on, that they were gonna take out like 5 chips out of the bag. Like, for real? 5 chips gonna put Frito-Lay out of business? Come on now, y'all gotta be kidding me. This can't be real. But this is what they're doing. Making us believe that there's some type of shortage and have us worried, fearful, and buying it like crazy and stuff. All okay with them extorting money from us, extorting us out of our fears and our ignorance. We can get us a potato and slice that boy up and throw it in some in some grease ourselves. One potato give us a whole bag of chips and sprinkle a little salt in that boy, and we got us some legs. You might not have the MSG now. You might have to spray some MSG and some other preservatives that they got on it too. They won't tell you that. The ingredients on the bag is really simple, they say. But you can't believe that. But this contamination that we get from the food industry is overwhelming. The FDA itself allow for certain contamination in our food, and especially in our frozen food and our canned food. We'll notice that we can have hair, vermins, parasites, we can have worms, we can have mold and all type of stuff in our food in certain amounts. If it exceeds a certain amount, yeah, they might deem the batch unsellable edible or something like that. But long as they can find one worm per pack, it's not that big a deal. You know what I mean? What, one worm ain't gonna hurt nobody. You know, a little bit of mold ain't gonna never kill nobody. They say ain't nothing but they say you get some health benefits from that. But a lot of our food, chocolate, all these chocolate candies and stuff, is filled with, rat droppings and all type of stuff that be in these manufacturing plants, that be all on the cocoa beans and different stuff that's just being dumped right into the, when they pull these beans out and cut the bag, they dump it right into the flat and start melting it down. All kind of stuff is falling in this stuff. And so they give the manufacturing plants a leniency on the amount of parasites that can be found per ounce or per pound or something like that, or per pack. So all our foods that we're eating from these food processing places indeed have some type of contamination in them. It might not be enough contamination to warrant you suffering, but some people are suffering and don't know that's the reason. Because it's causing some of us to suffer, but we can't connect it because it didn't happen outright. You know what I mean? And then we can't connect it after we done consumed it. We can't say, well, we done ate some parasite because it's already gone. We done digested it. We done broke it down. If it ain't nothing but a piece of meat, if you can break down steak, you think you can't break down a worm? In your stomach. Think about that. So if you can't break down a rat's tail, it's going to digest just as well. Like if you was eating a pigtail, something like that. A rat tail going to digest just as is a pigtail. So you have no worries about that. But so what we're eating is contaminated, and it's FDA approved. And that's who you put your trust in to take care of your stuff. They say it's okay. But when you eat fresh raw fruits and vegetables and get your food straight from the garden, you can look at your food. That food, that greens and vegetables and stuff that done been chopped up and put in freezer bags and put in cans and cooked and stuff like that. We don't know the conditions of that food prior to them preparing it and stuff. We have no idea. But when it comes straight from the garden and we can look at our food and see the bruised vegetables or the bruised fruit, and we can discard and say, I don't want this mess. But we can't tell that it done been cut up. I can get some old food, some rotted food, and throw some MSG in there and spread some aspartame on it, and it'll knock you out of your head and have your mouth on twist. Oh, boy, this is some good stuff. But this is the food industry. Keep us doped up and sick and diseased. And this stuff sits on the shelf, all this preservative. You gotta think, preservative is like embalming fluid. Like we see in these meats and stuff. With these meats, they have to embalm these meats. Once the animal dies, it automatically starts decaying. You don't see a deer lay on the road that long. Parasites are eating away at it right there before even the buzzers get there. It's being eaten within by parasites that's come out of nowhere to digest that animal and break it back down and put it back into the soil. So when we have a piece of steak that then been, taken from this, this T-bone taken from the spine of a cow, we got the T-bone is that spine, it's that backbone. So we're eating that spine. That's what that T is. That's that spine. So we're eating the spine of the cow, and when we're eating that spine, that spine been taken out maybe a month ago, and it's just getting to the grocery store. And then when we're eating like ground meats, you know how many cows may be in that? Like you say, McDonald's, the one McDonald's hamburger, that one patty can very well be the meat of 500 different cows. because they grind up so many, like 500 cows probably at one time, and just grind up all that meat together and then make a bunch of patties. So your patty is the accumulation of 500 different cows. Now, that's something to think about. You know, this food industry is nothing to be playing with. If you understand it, then you'll understand why we're getting sick, because of how we're eating from our food industry. But I wanted to share these jewels with you this week and help raise your awareness. I didn't want to attack the medical mentality so much. I want to get on some other folks a little bit, you know what I mean? About tired of talking about that stuff. If people want to do what they want to do, at the end of the day, let their mind go there and let them feel the effects of it. All we can do is just give you a warning. If you don't heed the warning because you think that we're not the elite people, we're not the people with all the money, you rather follow the money and follow these lights and cameras and action type people, then by all means, you have to, deal with the result of your with you from your choice. Whatever you choose to do, then you have to suffer the consequences of that. We just pray that, it'd be easy on you when your time come to learn the truth, and it might be too late. You probably done went and indulged in the medical mindset till they done took out organs out of you, then did this when actually you could have saved yourself. You could have saved your organs and tissues from being taken out and destroyed if you would have just listened from the get-go. But hey, some of us it's just not our fault. We just not in that state of mind to hear a good thing. But like I said, hopefully it doesn't be that hard on us in our day. But I want to thank you for listening to our show. We're going to continuously bring you information about how to keep yourself healthy and strong without the medicine man, without the herbal man, without the remedies, without the cures. We're going to get away from the cure mongers, and we're going to get away from those who wish to, exploit us for, with these drugs and potions and different things of that nature. I want you to have a great week. I want you to share this with people and, let them know that there's a platform that's raising the awareness of mankind through holistic health and natural hygiene. Nutrition for the modern day people who want to live in this world without suffering, and who's ready to get off that disease-producing lifestyle. Lifestyle mode is the cure. There is no cures except for the change of life. Best of health and happiness from Savannah Natural Health and Natural Gazelle. I'll see you next Tuesday at 6 o'clock.
Like this.